What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Yoka Duck coming to you live from New Orleans, NOLA, the NO, the Crescent City. Yeah, that Big Easy, baby. And today I got some content for you. But before we get into all that, make sure you do me a few favors. Make sure you smash that like button. Click on subscribe. Also click on the bell notifications and click on all so you'll be aware of every last video I'm putting out. You feel me? Also, do me a favor and engage with me in the comment section because we on the road to monetization and I can't do this without you. Also share with your friends, please. So, speaking of engagement, look, I'm the last video, these last couple videos I did about the Diddy trial, like I appreciate I appreciate all my new subscribers. I appreciate all those who are engaging with me in the comment. And special shout out goes to Because I'm Me, who simply typed engagement. Like I said, all engagement is appreciated. So, whatever you can contribute, obviously this person didn't want to, give too much. So they just wrote engagement. I appreciate that. Also, another special shout out goes to lovely lady Laura, who actually put the fleur de lis in the chat for me. Shout out to you, love. I appreciate that. Like I said, we on the road to monetization. So all the engagement is appreciated. So with no further ado, let's get into week number 3 of this Diddy trial. And I don't think nothing really new happened, other than people taking the stand to corroborate, try to strengthen the prosecution's case. But the most pertinent thing that happened is reporters asked Trump whether or not he would consider giving Diddy a pardon. I'm gonna give my take on that. But before we get into that, let's get into the actual trial. If that, shout out to this lady here. Shout out to Mona. Shout out to Mona. She's been doing a great job. I just started following her. I don't be on TikTok much, but I was like, let me go to TikTok because the videos are much shorter. It's more concise, easier to follow. They just get straight to the point. So I was like, yo, this is the wave. This is gonna be the wave. So shout out to Mona. So with no further ado, let's get into it. And I think this is starting to this is going to be from Capricorn Clark's testimony. If you don't know Capricorn Clark, she was one of Diddy's assistants. I think she was made she was over what's the name of Diddy's line? Like Sean John Women's Collection. She was a liaison for him. I think I got into it a little bit on the last video. I'm not exactly sure. I don't even remember, but let's get into it.
Is reporting that Cassie may be in labor. This is following explosive testimony from Diddy's former employee, Capricorn Clark, who also used to work closely with Cassie. Capricorn crying on the stand this morning as she recalled being kidnapped by Diddy's associates. She says she was holding.
There go our kidnapping right there. Remember I talked about in the last video some of the charges that may come down on Diddy and what they can and can't, what they possibly can and can't get Diddy on. And kidnapping was one of those. Matter of fact, kidnapping is a top charge, right? So because Diddy forced Capricorn Clark out of her home, he basically kidnapped her. He did something that was against her will. So that's considered kidnapping. And that's not even considering the whole video from the hotel when Cassie tried to escape from him. That's not considering that aspect of it because he forcibly made her stay, forcibly made her go back to the room. So that also has to be taken into consideration. So yeah, that's that what we talking about there. Let's get back into it.
holed up in the 6th floor of a building that was under construction for 5 days, accused of stealing some jewelry and forced to take lie detector tests. And at one point was threatened that if she failed, she would be thrown into the East River. Capricorn also...
If that's not coercion, I don't know what is. Force, and maybe even can fall under fraud. Did he actually intend on throwing this woman in the East River? I highly doubt it, but that goes into that force, fraud, coercion right there. This dude literally, I'm paraphrasing, and maybe not even paraphrasing, but I'm just this off the top of the dome for what I remember. This dude literally, because he lost some jewelry that was lent to him by Jacob the jeweler, and he was the irresponsible person that allowed that jewelry to be stolen and go missing. Because Capricorn Clark is his assistant, he basically passed the buck. He put the blame onto her. When she was unable to find it, he assumed that she stole it from him, and he basically put this lady in what is now Diddy's Bad Boys headquarters. At first, it was a dilapidated building. This was before the renovations that he made to it, but he had purchased it at the time. He basically held this lady in this building with some big old short yet wide guy, and basically held her there, constantly giving her lie detector tests 8 days straight, for 8 hours a day, at least 8 hours a day for 5 days straight. Dude, if that's not kidnapping, I don't know what is. Dude, you don't have the right. You don't have the right, dog, to be like forcibly making people, subjecting people to like lie detector tests. Like, who you think you is? Like, straight up, who you think you is, dude?
Also detailed her account of what happened the day Kid Cudi's house was broken into back in December of 2011. She says early in the morning the day of the break-in, a frantic and angry Diddy starts banging on her door, waving a gun. She says he had just discovered that Cassie was dating Kid Cudi and asked her, "Who is Scott?" She testified that he told her to get dressed and said, "I'm gonna kill this." At some point on the way, she calls Cassie on her burner phone and warns her. And that's when Kid Cudi discovers that Diddy's at his house, allegedly. Now, it's here that her testimony differs a little bit.
Now, here's why I don't think they can get Diddy on that on the arson charge, because like none of the testimony, nobody testified to Diddy actually being the person to do it. Nobody testified or owned up to them doing it on behalf of Diddy, because they were forced or coerced to do so. So like, and yes, they even bought the fire detective, the marshal, whatever, over investigations and stuff. They even brought him in there, and he can say that, yeah, it was set on fire, but nobody like admitted to it. And then, as a matter of fact, I think Capricorn Clark, she got a call from the investigator, and she basically hung up on dude and never talked to him again.
From Kid Cudi.
With that being said, I don't see how they can get him on that, because there's like no definitive proof that he did it. That's why I'm sticking to the fact that they're not going to be able to charge him with that arson.
Because she says that when Kid Cudi pulled up to his house, they spotted him and he drove away, and they started chasing him up the Hollywood Hills. They lost track of him but saw the police, and she says that's when Diddy all of a sudden calmed down, like the police had an effect on him. I'll further break down her testimony in a later post, but I also wanted to touch on cross-examination. Because one thing that really jumped out to me that Mark Igniflo zeroed in on that I think is really important to the defense's case is this notion that Diddy didn't kill Cassie's career, that Cassie killed Cassie's career because she's not talented. Capricorn Clark...
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. The whole thing is Cassie shouldn't even been put in a situation to have a career. If she was going to have a career, her career should have went through Ryan Leslie. I guess you could say that Diddy didn't kill Cassie's career, because honestly, she shouldn't have had a career in the first place, because she wasn't like musically talented. Was she a pretty person? She's an absolute gorgeous woman. So before being discovered, she was doing modeling at the age of 16 or maybe even before then. She should have been in that lane only. She should have never been allowed to get in somebody's studio and do whatever that is she was doing. No disrespect to Cassie. Capricorn even testified to say she don't think that Cassie's is talented, and basically that Cassie is a studio singer. That's even debatable.
Clark held many jobs when she worked with Diddy, and one of those jobs was to help develop Cassie as an artist. And so Mark Agnifilo asks Capricorn if she thinks that Cassie is talented, and she responds, "I think Cassie has talent and is a beautiful woman." So then he asks her, "Is being talented and having talent different?" And she says yes. She then explains that as a bad boy artist, Cassie got more attention and more resources than any other artist, particularly in the early years. She says that was definitely the case when it came to budget, studio time, access to stylists and hairstylists. And this is in stark contrast to Cassie saying that she recorded hundreds of songs and barely any were released. Cassie only released one album and a 10-album deal through Bad Boy. But Capricorn Clark says that while she did work hard in the beginning, towards the middle and the end, she was more concerned about her relationship with Diddy than her work ethic. I'll give you guys a full rundown on today's events shortly. I just stepped out of...
Yeah. I do think that like Cassie put in a lot of work at the beginning of her career. I mean, we don't have like the evidence to support that she actually put in a lot of work, but I do think that Diddy had her in the studio a lot to deceive her into thinking that she actually had a career, that her career would be something other than being his basically his object. So I don't think that's far fetched to say that he put in a lot of time and resources into Cassie because he had the that comes into play. That's where fraud comes into play. He had to sell the dream. He was selling her a dream. He was selling her a bill of goods. So yeah, I think that's it. I think about hit the nail on the head. Let's get into some more.
Death
Let's get
threats,
into
car chases.
Shout out to Ms. Mona. Look, let's shout out to Ms. Mona.
Death threats,
She's a pretty
car
lady.
chases, guns, alleged kidnapping. Diddy's former assistant turned executive delivered explosive testimony week 3 of the Diddy trial. During much of it, it sounded like she was describing scenes out of a movie. Capricorn Clark says in 2004, her first day on the job working for Diddy, she says he took her on a walk to Central Park and told her if she still had ties to her former boss, Suge Knight, that he'd have to kill her. But it didn't end there. We also heard her...
That is wild. Like in the industry, there's overlap amongst people. You feel me? So she's if she's been in the industry and she has experience, there's going to be some overlap. She may even have worked for some of your ops. So like, okay, so what if she does? I get it. You know, he's trying to protect himself. I honestly don't think Suge had any interest in like doing anything to Diddy. And honestly, I don't think Diddy had any intentions on doing anything to Suge. I think that there was a lot of bluster on Diddy's side where he would act like he wants to do something to Suge, but he didn't want that smoke. And basically, Diddy wasn't even on Suge's radar. Suge didn't care about like harming Diddy, like physically. Maybe like maybe he had interest in harming his reputation, but like physically harming Diddy, like what would he get out of that? You know what I'm saying? What's done is done. And it's not like he had plans on like putting them 6 feet under, like for what? Like Suge's already got enough legal, especially at that time. Suge already had a bunch of people watching him because everybody thought he was just like this brute. So I don't even think Suge was worrying about Diddy.
Her side of a story that we've heard before, the day that Kid Cudi's house got broken into. It's December 22nd, 2011, and she says early in the morning, someone is pounding at her door. She looks through the peephole and sees Diddy waving a gun, furious. She says he was demanding to know who Scott was. She says, "I don't know a Scott." And he clarifies, "Kid Cudi." So then she says, "Oh, that's Cassie's friend." So he tells her, "Get dressed. We're gonna go kill this." Capricorn testified that she told Diddy she didn't want to go, but Diddy told her, "I don't give a what you want to do." So
That's the kidnapping. You're not allowed to do that. That's the kidnapping, homie. Don't do that. That's why you're being and like I said, they only need 2 to charge him with. I think the trafficking, dead to rights. Kidnapping, now, dead to rights. He definitely got that. He had that even before this testimony, just based on the hotel footage. He had the kidnapping was dead to rights. They got him. There's 2 of them off top. The trafficking, off top. Kidnapping, off top.
Capricorn, Diddy, and his security guard Ruben start driving in a black Escalade towards the Hollywood Hills. Capricorn says that they pull up to Kid Cudi's house, and Diddy and the security guard gain access to his home, while Capricorn stays behind in the SUV. She says she called Cassie on her burner phone to warn her about what's going on. She says she quickly changes Cassie's burner phone contact on her phone to some random name, but Diddy is onto it. She says he picks up her phone and calls the last number that she called, and Cassie answers. Now he is furious. And around this time is when Kid Cudi pulls up in a black Porsche to his own home. She notices, and Diddy goes, "There's that right there." According to Capricorn.
Wait. Let's do some investigation. Let's do some investigation. Because this is crazy. So like, yeah. So like because this is a black Porsche too. Like, when did this get burned? Like after the chase, like how, like the timeline is what I'm not getting when it comes to the burning of the Porsche. That's what I'm like, when did they have the time to do that? That's what I'm not getting. Like, we see the Porsche here. This is a black Porsche, unless it's a different color. Let's see. Maybe it's not. I don't know. This is a black Porsche here. So did he have 2 black Porsches? Like, when did they have time to do that? You know, if they had broken into the house, then Kid Cudi pulls up. Then they proceed to chase Kid Cudi. When did the Porsche get burned? Or is someone set to testify to corroborate this? That's the question.
Capricorn, that's when a car chase ensues. They all jump into the black SUV and start chasing Kid Cudi up the Hollywood Hills. But remember, Kid Cudi testified that on his way to confront Diddy, he called the cops because he wasn't sure if they had guns. The cops pull up around the same time, and that's when Capricorn says Diddy snaps out of it. And now he's more concerned about Kid Cudi reporting him to the cops, so she says that he threatens her and Cassie to convince Kid Cudi to stay silent or he'll kill them. When all is said and done, Cassie and Capricorn go to Diddy's house, and that's when she says he loses it. Capricorn says that Diddy repeatedly kicks Cassie, full force, she said, until she's crouched into a fetal position. She says Cassie doesn't say a word. She's just silently crying, and with each kick, he kicks her closer to the street. And Capricorn starts getting emotional as she explains that she didn't intervene because she was in shock. But she says she did call Cassie's mom to warn her that Diddy's beating the shit out of your daughter, and she said, "I can't call the police, but you can." At this point in her testimony, we go full circle back to the email that Cassie allegedly sent her mom, telling her that Diddy was threatening to release sex tapes and hurt her and Kid Cudi. Capricorn's testimony lasted a full day and showed a pattern of intimidation, control, and threats. She described a time where she lost jewelry that Diddy had on loan from Jacob the jeweler. She says that resulted in her home being torn apart and her being hauled off to a dilapidated building where she was strapped to a lie detector. And for 5 days, she says she was taken there, unable to leave, questioned, taken home, and then brought right back in the morning. At one point, she says the associate that was there threatened her that if she failed, she would be thrown into the East River. She says at the
this is why, like, this nigga got some nerve. Some dude, you a record exec. Why you can't just be a record exec? Like, what makes you want to be like a mob boss and then like threatening people's lives? Like, this is you're supposed to be balling. So what is you borrowing? Why are you borrowing like jewelry and stuff? Well, you should either, like, if you were going to borrow it, it should have been the responsibility of someone on your security staff to keep that secure. If I had to guess, Capricorn had nothing to do with that jewelry going missing, and it was somebody in the security staff that that it went missing with. Because they probably the only ones like tough enough to like go toe to toe with. Because what I'm hearing, the dude got hands, and for some reason, when he's angry, he got all the stamina in the world. So, like the security team, they armed and stuff. So I doubt that they're like as scared of Cassie. I mean, as scared of Diddy as the rest of these females that's associated with him.
The end, the test was inconclusive, but says that she didn't tell anyone because she was under an NDA. She also described how brutal the working environment was under Diddy and echoed what 2 other assistants have already testified, that they would work 20-hour days in high-stress environments. She said Diddy would yell at her, and one time in Miami even pushed her and told her to get the F out of his house. As because of the working conditions, she developed stress-induced alopecia. But despite all of this, she ended up going back to work for Diddy multiple times, the last time in 2016 to work as a creative director for Cassie. She says partly because of the work, but also partly because she felt she was blacklisted when she left. And the defense jumped all over that. During cross-examination, Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, pointed out the fact that Capricorn over the years would send emails to Diddy wishing him well. She once told him she had a crush on him, and also as recently as 2024 was reaching out for a job opportunity. Mark Agnifilo.
See, that's the thing that the defense attorneys, the Diddy's defense is gonna hammer home. The fact that these people just keep coming back. But the thing is, they're coming back because you done threatened their job so many times, and you done threaten them with you'll never work in this town again so many times that they think that you're the only way for them to be able to provide for their families. Let's keep it real. This is all part of the coercion, right? They ain't got no choice but to go back to you, because like if what you gonna put you down as a reference? If they put you down as a reference, somebody's gonna call you and say, "Yeah, such and such is here looking for a job," and you gonna say, "Don't hire him." Like, we already know how this game goes. We already, like, us in regular normal society. Like me, I was threatened at one point to be blackballed from my industry because I had like some choice words for one of my project managers. Like, it happens in like regular jobs. So what you think this happens in the music industry?
Agnifilo then showed the court several emails where Capricorn is pleading for Diddy to take her back. And then Capricorn says that she was hurt to learn that the only reason that Diddy offered her a job again is because Cassie requested her. She then went on to say, "This is my whole life and they're shenanigans. I have no parents. My son has autism. He's nonverbal. My stakes are higher, sir." She also says that she returned to work with Diddy to show that she wasn't disposable. And at this level of business, she said, he had all the power.
Look, I know that a lot of people were saying that the defense, Diddy's defense ate when it came to Capricorn. When it came to Capricorn's testimony, a lot of people saying like, yeah, that Diddy kind of ate, his defense kind of ate on that. But with all that being said, like, when it comes to Capricorn, when it comes to Mia, they standing strong. You know, they not lying. Cassie, the same thing. They're not lying or anything. They're just keeping it 100. So if the defense think they cornered them, they just answer the question honestly and be like, yeah. There's no emotion. Well, there is emotions involved because this is a very emotional situation. But they're not letting the defense get them flustered. And that's the problem that the defense is having, in my opinion.
At this point, the government has built a pretty strong case against Diddy on that RICO charge. And as for the sex trafficking charge, Deontay Nash, who is Diddy and Cassie's former stylist, presented some pretty significant testimony. Not only did Deontay testify that he witnessed Diddy beating Cassie bloody, but he's also the first person in Cassie's inner circle to back her claim that she didn't want to do these freak-offs. Deontay walked into that courtroom as a celebrity stylist would, very fashionable. And he also made...
Oh, one more time. Shout out to you, Mona. You're a very pretty lady. You're doing your job very well. Shout out to you.
One thing very clear, that he didn't want to testify. Deontay was able to back some key points in Cassie's testimony, including Diddy blackmailing Cassie by threatening to release sex tapes, threatening to get her parents fired by sending those tapes to their jobs.
More coercion, more fraud, more force.
Also says that Cassie opened up to him about the freak-offs and witnessed her packing her bag for weekly hotel visits. He says there would be times where he would find himself in the middle of their fights. Also told the story of the OVO Fest where he and assistant Mia tried to hold Diddy back.
Yo, this is my first look. I'm like I said, I follow the trial over, in spurts, right? Whenever I can catch people like the surprise witness. Shout out to the surprise witness. I love her content. When it comes to this Diddy trial, she's very thorough. She goes over everything, and she's even an attorney, so she can like break a lot of this stuff down. I'm even in her chat. If you see me in her chat, you know what I'm saying, she calls me her uncle in the chat. Shout out to you. But especially because we both from she's from Louisiana. We both from Louisiana, so that's a little joke. She knows. I forgot what I was saying. So let's continue. Oh, I remember what I was saying. Like, it's crazy that Drake is being. It's crazy to me that Drake is being brought up in this trial. I mean, not outright mentioned in this trial, but OVO Fest comes up. That's crazy.
Mia tried to hold Diddy back from beating Cassie. Says an angry Diddy started hurling insults at Cassie and started beating her. Deontay says he tried to jump on his back and was thrown off. This is the incident where Cassie says she hit her head on the headboard and had to get plastic surgery to fix the scar. But Deontay says that Diddy would be violent with him too, popping him on the back of the head. He also says that he would help Cassie hide out, which led to him fearing for his own safety. At one point, he says Diddy showed up to his home looking for Cassie, searching his entire home, even the oven, which perplexed him. Deontay says that he was also there at Cassie's 29th birthday, where Diddy was pressuring her to do a freak-off, and he says she didn't want to do it. Also says that he spent a lot of time with Cassie in the studio, watching her record so many songs that were never released. Says if he's being generous, 10% of that music was released. But he says he did witness Diddy threaten to not release Cassie's music if she didn't watch her mouth. Fear, intimidation, control were the underlying themes once again during Deontay's testimony. But like other employees, the defense pointed out that Deontay kept in contact with Diddy over the years, to which he responded, "This man's sanity was my..."
Of course they're keeping contact with this dude because they need work. Like, what's the defense is not, I can't see them selling the jury on this because these are everyday working people on this doggone jury. And they can relate to these people. It's not like and what this further exposes is that there ain't no money in the music industry. This what this exposes. Like, if you're trying to get you a job in the music industry, Diddy's a whole billionaire and he's not paying these people nothing. Capricorn said her salary is like $65,000, dude. I make way more than that. And I don't have to deal with the same stresses. And I'm not like working 24/7. Like, these people had no life outside of Diddy. Diddy was their whole entire life. Well, at least in the case of Capricorn and Mia, Diddy was their whole entire life. There was no 65 grand is crazy. Even back then, for the amount of work you're putting in the early, the mid 2000s, early 2010s, that's no money. Especially from a dude that was approaching billionaire status.
My safety. That's just what I was used to. The defense also pointed out that Deontay started off as an intern, and it was Diddy who turned him into a celebrity stylist, insinuating that he owes Diddy his career. But I think it underscores why we keep seeing former employees keep coming back to Diddy's world. Because, for example, Capricorn Clark says that she started as an assistant, but then Diddy made her the head of Sean John Women's, and then later a creative director. The defense also pointed out that Deontay and Cassie still have a close relationship. In fact, he said he congratulated her on her baby. But home searches, lie detector tests, physical violence, threats, these are all things that we've heard from former Diddy employees. That's why I think Deontay is the 5th employee that we've heard from if you count Don Richard. And at the scene of almost every single situation are Diddy's security. D-Rock, Uncle Paulie, Ruben, we even know their names. Drug use is also a big theme, particularly Cassie's drug use. Capricorn Clark testified that in the mid-2010s, Cassie's drug use started affecting her music, and the defense leaned into that to show that Cassie was an addict. But the prosecution presented the drugs as a way to show that they were used to coerce Cassie to perform these sex acts. I'm on my way to...
Right. Because from what I'm hearing, like Cassie wasn't even like allowed to like partake in these substances outside of the freak offs. Let me see, trafficking, aiding and abetting. I wonder if no, yeah, distribution. That's where it is. So yeah, he's going down for distribution for sure. So right now we got him on kidnapping. I still can't put the arson on him. Bribery of a witness. I think that's part of the reason why he's currently there now is for bribery. So they got him dead to rights on kidnapping, bribery, witness tampering. Yeah, bribery and witness tampering is what they basically refused to give him bond for. Forced labor, of course, Capricorn Clark testified to that because she was making 65 grand a year. When she went to HR to get like overtime, like back pay and stuff, they told Diddy that they owed her like 80 grand or something along those lines. Diddy said no. That's the nice version of what Diddy said. We already got him on trafficking. We already got him on this schmostitution. And so only thing I can't, as of now, stick him with is the arson. And that means 7 out of the 8 charges he's, to me, in my opinion, they got him dead to rights. Diddy will be convicted, without a doubt. Now, is he cooked? Will he serve that time? That's up for the debate. Okay, this is the last video from Ms. Mona. Let's get it. Hold on, let me.
Death threats, car chases, guns, alleged kidnapping. Diddy's former assistant turned executive delivered explosive testimony week 3 of the Diddy trial. During much of
Yeah. Wait, did we watch this
death threats, car chases, guns, alleged kidnapping, Diddy pushed her and told her to get the F out of his house. As because of the working conditions, she developed stress-induced alopecia. But death threats,
yeah, we watched this one. What's the other one with let's go. Let's look for that. Come on. Let's go. Let's just.
There's drama playing out behind the scenes.
We just clicking on one at random. Maybe we should go to the most recent one. This is from a day ago. This is from 10 hours ago. Let's check this out.
Diddy's old assistant, who alleges that he sexually assaulted and raped her, has just been cross-examined. Mia, who's using a pseudonym to protect her identity, was asked about a scrapbook she made for the rapper's 45th birthday back in 2014. In it, she wrote, "Puff, sometimes life moves at a catastrophic speed that you don't get to live in and enjoy the now." Mia told the court that she thought the book would make him happy. Now, Brian Steele, Diddy's defense lawyer, questioned why Mia continued to work for Diddy and made the scrapbook after the alleged assault. He also showed multiple Instagram posts where Mia was being positive about Diddy. Mia told the court that that was part of her job. Her cross-examination will continue on Monday, and Diddy denies all the allegations. Diddy's old assistant, who...
Yeah, that's... based on what I've read, based on the tweets that I've seen from Inner City Press, based on the tweets being read to me by the surprise witness, shout out to you, cousin. Based on that, I don't think that the defense did particularly well when it came to Mia. Mia, from what I've heard, was very emotional throughout her questioning from the prosecution. But when it came to the defense, they weren't able to, like, I mean, this is just me. If Mia was so emotional and they tried to make it seem like she was acting, like it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like she was just putting on. If Mia was so emotional during the prosecution's questioning, why wasn't Brian still able and Diddy's defense able to draw some of those emotions out of her and get her to react in a way that would possibly sway the jury? Also, shout out to Tisa. Let me see what Tisa had to say.
And he literally grabbed him, right? He literally took the bowl of spaghetti. First of all, he berated her. He screamed at her. He humiliated.
Let's not get into that. So basically, it's going over more abuse. That's the running theme with all of this with Diddy when it comes to these victims. It's the same story. So there's no reason to like keep like hammering that home. You feel me? It's the same story over and over. But I will get into, she did make a claim that she was, or Diddy did force himself on her. One time in which he was she was staying in his house, and one of Diddy's rules was they weren't allowed to lock doors. So she's in a bunk bed. Diddy decides to come into the room, and she wakes up to the weight of a human body on her, and he forced himself upon her. Sick man. From what I can gather, it seems that the women weren't allowed to lock doors. But from what I'm hearing, security was allowed to lock doors. I guess he had no interest in, Plus, he probably wanted his life. Their security, I'm sure they're armed, and I'm sure they're bigger than Diddy. Like, he probably would have lost his life trying that one. So, but from what I'm seeing, like, the defense isn't particularly doing the best job in this situation. But at the same time, this isn't their case. This is the prosecution. Excuse me. These people are excuse me again. These people are the witnesses that the prosecution are bringing forth. These people can only be cross-examined by the defense. I think from what I'm hearing, the prosecution maybe have another 2 or 3 weeks, and then there's going to be time for the defense to put their case out, right? So the defense is basically reacting, and that's what I said in one of my last videos. It's going to be a whole bunch of ebbs and flows, and the ebbs and flows are mostly going to be favoring the prosecution, because now that the prosecution is presenting their case, the defense hasn't presented their case yet. So I think for the last 2 weeks of the trial, so we're in week 3. I think the trial is set to go 8 to 10 weeks. So maybe by week 6 or week 8, we're going to finally be getting into the defense's witnesses and things like that. But still, right now, I think that the prosecution did an excellent job at presenting their case. I think that they tied the RICO together. I think the RICO is, in my opinion, I'm not a legal expert. I did hear that the judge mentioned something about them not like presenting a real racketeering case. But I think that they did is the fact that they would you have the people, the likes of KK is one of the assistants. Yeah, people the likes of KK that does his bidding. KK is trying to keep up with Cassie at all times. KK is saying to people, you need to tell Cassie or you need to call Diddy right now. His HR department, they're doing his bidding, right? They may tell Diddy, yes, you owe this person money, but they're not pushing back on Diddy. They're not, you know what I'm saying? Like this whole corporation, the whole entity in itself is basically working at the behest of Diddy. So yes, I think that Diddy would definitely go down for racketeering. He would definitely go down for RICO. And the thing is, Diddy formed the RICO himself by force, fraud, and coercion. Like we can't say that he had people, like-minded people around him to co-conspire with him in these acts. He basically did it on his own, but the RICO comes into play when he's doing it, when he forms a corporation to do these things at his behest. But I am on the fence when it comes to Diddy actually serving any time. And that's because a good President Trump was asked if he considered pardoning Diddy, and the media, y'all wild. Y'all, because it's like y'all are putting this in his head. Like, why would y'all even ask him this? Like, if Diddy is the reprehensible person that we all think that he is, why even ask this man that and put this out in the ether? Is my question. So let's get into it.
Donald Trump has responded to questions from reporters on whether he would pardon Sean Diddy Combs if he is found guilty.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, he sort of, that relationship busted up. From what I read, I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, I don't know. I would certainly.
I don't, like, maybe I'm wrong and I wasn't paying attention to it, and no, probably was paying attention to it, but maybe not to Diddy himself, right? But I don't remember like Diddy making like any statements towards Trump. I do remember him backing Hillary. I do remember him, saying vote or die. I don't think he like outright badmouthed Trump. He did run Revolt, which is the Breakfast Club and everything, and they're no friends of Donald Trump. But like, did he outright say anything about Trump? I don't recall anything like that being said.
Certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact.
If I think someone was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on it. To me, and like, I know this is going to be a political statement, right? I know that there's a lot of people that think Trump is the best president ever. But we have to take into consideration corruption. I'm also hearing like people saying, and before I say this, I absolutely do think people are taking money to people are paying money to get pardons. That's where the corruption comes into play. So I'm also hearing that people like shout out to Tisa, but I think Tisa made a statement basically like Diddy don't have the money. Diddy don't have the money to like where he's gonna get the money from to pay for this pardon. NBA YoungBoy got a pardon, and I'm sure Diddy has more access to money, to funds and resources than NBA YoungBoy, right? I'm pretty sure of that. And if he ain't got the money in the bank account because they may be frozen by the feds or anything, he has people that are willing to fit that bill for him. I think that there's still people out there willing to fit that bill for him. I think that, this is a little bit of like some conspiracy theory, but I think that there's some people who need to be protected. Some people much higher than Diddy that need to be protected. And if they need to fit the bill for Diddy to get out, to dead this whole situation, they will. But look, that's all the time I got for you today. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'm talking about smash that like button. Absolutely. Assault that thing. Hit the bell notification and click on the bell. and hit all so you'll be aware of every last video that I'm dropping. Give me some engagement in the chat, please. And thank you. If you don't want to leave your comment, you don't want to give me your 2 cents, you feel me? Just type engagement in the chat like my peoples already did and throw some fleur-de-lis in there. All engagement is appreciated. We're on a road to monetization. Thank y'all for joining me. Also, always remember to give a maximum effort in all your endeavors in life. And I'm going to see y'all next time. Peace.